The biggest mistake people make isn't picking a bad playbook, it's picking the wrong playbook for how you actually want to play. After testing all these playbooks for a week, I found playbooks for online grinders, dynasty players, comp players, beginners, and one that I think is just the best overall for everybody. Picking the best playbook isn't necessarily about picking a cheesy playbook or one with all the meta plays, but you do want a lot of variety and answers to everything you could go up against. Let's start with the tier 1 playbooks. These are more specialty playbooks, good for beginners and dynasty mode, but also can be used at a high level if you want to be a bit more off meta. Let's start with West Virginia, the most unique playbook on this list, mainly for the gun, power, eye, tight formation. This is a formation that can be fun in dynasty, but also if you can master it, you can maybe annoy some people online with this. This one can be pretty crazy with the QB runs and the different types of blasts and options that it has. Now, aside from that, this might not be the strongest playbook in the game, but it is going to be pretty gimmicky and good if you like to play with trip sets. This is going to be one of the stronger trips playbooks in the entire game because it does have a lot to offer in that department. So if you like playing that style, this is something that's definitely worth taking a look at. The next playbook we have to look at is Colorado, and this one's definitely got some specialty in it with the go-go offense. You could see tons of go-go options, and this is not found in a lot of playbooks. This is something that is both kind of gimmicky, but also really tough to go against if you don't actually know how to defend it, and it does a really good job at beating some of the meta stuff that people like to run, like certain cover zero blitzes, for example. You've got good options and pass plays here that you're not going to really run up against a whole lot, so it gives you the answer to a lot of things people like to do on defense, and they're usually not well prepared to go against this formation. This playbook in general is really good if you like 2-back shotgun because you have a ton of different options there to get both backs on the field. You've also got some good trip sets, and then you have the cluster halfback strong, which I think is one of the more underrated formations every year that not enough people put the time in to learn. It's basically a shotgun bunch, but it's just a slight difference, but it has a lot of unique plays in it. And then you've got a pure gun tight, which you don't see in a whole lot of playbooks, and they added some new plays this year that can really make this formation explosive. Another underrated part of this playbook are the pistol sets. They have a good amount of them, and this year running the ball seems to be pretty strong, and pistol runs specifically like dives and zones and different stretches and options can be very, very powerful out of pistol, especially when you look at things like a pistol bunch that also has good passing plays incorporated in it as well. Do not sleep on the use of pistol formations in College 27. This next playbook was high up on a lot of people's lists in the community, but for me, it's just kind of alright, but it does fall in the specialty playbooks and it has some really good stuff about it. And I'm talking about the Fresno State playbook. Now, I do think there's a good amount of variety here, but the main reason you would want to use this playbook is the tight doubles formation. Now, before the game was released, they had more plays in here, which they said they were using to kind of stress test the game when the beta was out, but we saw that some of those plays were removed when the actual version of the game came out. However, tight doubles does still have a lot of good stock plays in here, better than before, and this is a good formation that you can use if you just want to quick snap people with good play designs like mesh spot, mesh angle, plays like cross wheels, plays like mesh deep over, cross halfback sneak. There's a lot of good stock plays in here that you don't need a lot of hot routes for. This is kind of good if you're a quick hiker, you're someone that wants to be competitive, but you don't want to have to make a bunch of hot routes. This playbook's going to be very good for that. And you still have some other good stuffs like trio sets, tray sets. So if you like trips, you've got a good variety there. This is also another playbook that has a good amount of pistol, which is going to be important this year for running the ball. I think running the ball is very powerful. You definitely want to take advantage of it. The pistol bunch tight end is a sleeper. You've got some good runs like the halfback zone. You've got some good stock passing plays in here like cross drag. You've got an option. So this playbook, while I don't think it's a top 3 playbook, I do think it falls in the top tier of the specialty playbooks, and it's something you should take a look at. Now, grading this tier, variety is a B-. You've got a lot at your disposal, but not as much as some of the later playbooks we're going to talk about. Difficulty's an A-, good for beginners to pick up because of the good stock plays and gimmicky options. And competitive ceiling's a B-. If you're an off-meta player and put the time in, you can still go pretty far with these playbooks. Hey, if you're still here at this point of the video and you haven't subscribed yet, you might as well go ahead, subscribe, join the family. That way you're always up to date with all of the latest and best tips for college football. If you thought tier 1 was good, tier 2 steps it up quite a bit. These are the Ole Reliable, all around good playbooks for any kind of player. Sim players, dynasty players, but they also lean a little bit more to the competitive side as well, and you can definitely go far with these playbooks at the highest level. But the real competitive juggernauts are coming later. And in this tier, we have to start with Notre Dame. It's been good for years, and it's still good now. It offers a lot of variety. It offers a lot of good formations that I like. A lot of trip sets, like trio halfback weak, which you can really do some damage with. You've got bunch strong offset, which is always one of the better formations in the game, with plays like dagger, with plays like Y trail, which I think is really good this year. You've got tosses, you've got good halfback runs. You've also got cluster, which I think is a very, very underrated formation. It's really good for beating man, really good for beating zone. I think this is one of the best formations for that. And then you've got bunch tight end strong, which is another sleeper. Most people think of bunch tight end. Bunch tight end strong is really good as well. You've got bunch strong wide, which is kind of one that I think is a sleeper. Tight Y off flex, tight open, another sleeper. You've just got a good amount of variety in this playbook. You've got a little bit of pistol, which I'd like to see more pistol in the top end playbooks for the most part this year, but at least you have a few options here that you can go to. And you've got a little bit of wildcat if you want to get gimmicky in certain situations. It's good to have some of that stuff in your back pocket. And of course, we got to talk about Oregon. This is one of the best Ole Reliables there is. They've got great variety with your shotgun. You've got some of the bigger sets like wing tight and deuce close, which you can use to run the ball and pass the ball effectively. You've got normal Y off close, which is one of the best formations every year in the game with some really good passing concepts out of them. The play Y sail is one of the best and easiest plays for anybody to run, so it's good for a competitive player or a beginner. Simply just streak your slot receiver or put them on a zig. Those two options alone make this play a really good standard beater for zone and man coverage. You've got a bunch of trip sets in this playbook. Trips tight end offset weak, another good one with plays like verticals, which you can kind of just quick snap and have really good success with. You've got bunch strong offset, which is always one of the better formations in the game. It's good competitively, but it's also good if you just want to kind of spread the ball around a little bit, even if you're playing in a dynasty. You've got bunch open, bunch quads, and then you've also got some trip sets and some empty sets as well. And you've also got a decent amount of pistol sets as well. Not my favorite pistol playbook by any means, but you definitely have some stuff to mess around with. You've even got some I form here if you want to go really heavy, which does work better this year, especially in short yardage situations. You've got some options there. And you've got one of the better wildcat playbooks with a lot of different variety, so you can get a little gimmicky here too. It's one of the most balanced playbooks in the game. Competitively, dynasty, gimmicky, you've got it all. And really quickly, I do want to mention that we are still partnered with Civil.gg. If you play College Football 27 and you're tired of losing to random nonsense, losing dynasty games, or even just against your friends, this is the place to be. In the last 2 years, 96% of members say they've won more games simply just by joining. And inside, you'll get the exact schemes, full offensive and defensive guides that some of the best players run. And these are good for not only online, but for dynasty players as well. Use code ERIC for 30% off. Link is in the description and the pinned comment below. And for the best Ole Reliable options, we got to talk about Oregon State. It was really good last year. It's still good again this year. You've got a good amount of balance in this playbook that I really like a lot. You've got good trip sets with trips tight end offset, trips tight end, and trio halfback weak. This is a good playbook for trips and bunch players. You've got regular bunch, bunch X nasty, bunch strong offset, bunch quads offset. This is actually a playbook that, while it's in the all-around Ole Reliable tier that anybody can use, I do think this one also leans into the competitive level pretty heavily as well, because you do have so much variety of top tier formations here. It doesn't have a lot of pistol, but the pistol that it does have is very good. Wing flex close, I think, is a really nice pistol formation with a speed option, a wide zone, some good passing plays, and a halfback zone, which are really good this year. You also have pistol bunch tight end, which is one of the better pistol formations in the game. You've got a good dive, you've got some good passing plays, you've got options. Cross drag is one of the better quick snap plays in the game. So while this playbook is a good all around for beginner, dynasty, online, I do think it could also lean a little bit more competitive. Rating tier 2, the variety is an A-. You've got a lot of stuff from top to bottom, under center, and shotgun. Difficulty is a B+, a little bit harder to master. You're going to need some more hot routes to get the most out of them. And the competitive ceiling's an A-. These are some of the best in the game, especially if you put the time in. Now we move on to tier 3, the competitive tier. This is if you want to have the most explosive offenses in the game. And while you could still definitely use these if you're a dynasty player or just playing for fun, these are going to be the most high-powered offenses. And we're starting with Bowling Green, which was one of the top playbooks last year, and it's still good this year, but it might have gotten even a little bit better. Now, you've got some heavy shotgun sets, which you can use to be a little gimmicky with, but then you get into your stuff like normal Y off close and plays like Y sail, which we already talked about being one of the better plays in the game for both a beginner, but also a competitive player, because it just has great spacing. You've also got a lot of unique formations in this playbook that you might not run a whole lot, but it's good to have stuff in your back pocket. You've got a lot of trip sets, especially a really good trips tight end with some motions. You've got a lot of good variety here. You've got bunch offset, bunch strong offset, and bunch tight end. These are 3 of the better bunch formations in the game. Bunch is always going to be something you want to have at a competitive level because it creates really good spacing. Plays like double post, you can just quick snap and go and really tear people up. You've got a lot of RPOs in this playbook as well, so you're going to have answers to a lot of things people want to do. And you also got a decent amount of pistol, maybe not the best pistol in the world, but definitely some that you can use to your advantage. And you've also got some wildcat if you need to get gimmicky as well, so that's always going to be a plus in a playbook like this. You've already got good strong passing formations, but you want to be able to get gimmicky too. Up next might be my favorite playbook depending on the day you ask me, and that's Florida International, a playbook that has a lot to like, a lot of RPOs, a lot of motion, a lot of answers to things that people want to throw at you. But the heart of the playbook is when you get into things like the Y-off trio close, which has some really good plays that can answer a lot of your biggest problems you'll face against defenses. You've got the Y-off trips weak, again, a lot of motion, a lot of answers. You've got trips tight end, it's always good to have a pure trips tight end. And then you've also got trips tight end offset weak, so you've got a lot of good answers there. You've got bunch strong nasty, and bunch strong offset. These are things that are always going to be in a competitive playbook. It's just one of those things that's always going to be very good in a game. And you have a lot of the best plays that you can use at your disposal to attack anything you can go up against, especially a play like return X post. This is a stock competitive type of play. You don't even have to make changes here. You just snap and go. And with how good man defense is this year, plays like this are very crucial to beating it. And it's also a playbook that has a ton of pistol. I've already talked about it. Pistol, I think, is going to be very useful this year with the options, the dives, the zone weaks, the tosses, anything you can imagine, and good passing plays to boot. I mean, when you look through here, you're going to have a lot of different answers to things people want to do on defense. And if you thought those were good, wait till you see this one, Virginia. This playbook is kind of insane this year. It's really good competitively. I also think this could just be a fun all-around playbook no matter where you're playing. But when you look at some of the shotgun, they've got a lot of gimmicky stuff. This one's going to fall in kind of a gimmicky, dynasty, and competitive all in once, which is not something you really see. When you go to bunch quads offset, this is a gimmicky player's dream. You've got direct crack sweep, direct halfback blast, halfback power. You can have inside zone. You got rollout double post, which is a good play. You've got tosses, you've got verticals. This is a formation that, while it's not going to be something that's going to win you every game, it can absolutely win you a ton of games if you get good at using it, because it's going to be so annoying to stop. You've got a bunch of good normal formations that both have some gimmicky plays but also good passing plays. You've got a few trip sets, which again have things like halfback direct snap, which is always going to be annoying. But you also got good bunch formations too with really good stock plays. This is really a nightmare for people to go against, because some of these plays you can just kind of snap and go or just make one hot route. And then you've got bunch strong offset that also has an option with it as well. Tosses, good stock plays like wide trail and flood and dagger. You've got motion. You've got a lot of RPOs in this playbook. You've even got gun monster, which is another thing that's gimmicky. When you look at gun monster and you look at some of those halfback direct snaps and blasts, this is a playbook, like I said, while it can be very competitive because of some of the stuff it has, it also is just annoying. So you can kind of play both sides with this. You've also got tight open. You've got spread. You've got more trips. You've got shotgun gate, something that's not in a lot of playbooks. Again, further upping the gimmickiness of this playbook. When you look at all the gimmicks that it has with all the different motions and weird formations and jet sweeps and blasts, just a super annoying playbook to deal with. And you got a bunch of pistol on top of that. Like, this playbook is absolutely loaded. Pistol full house, pistol trips, pistol bunch, which I think is one of the most underrated formations in the game. Halfback zone, super good run this year. But in pistol bunch, you've got good stock passing plays. You've got different ways to run the ball. You've got motion. You've even got a bunch X nasty pistol, which is not something you see a lot. Again, great stock plays and great running plays. This playbook could arguably be the best in the game. It really just depends on the type of player you are. Rating tier 3, the variety is at A+. You've got so much stuff at your disposal. Difficulty, however, is a C+. Not the best for beginners, because to really get the most out of these, you need to add a lot of hot routes, audibling, and really know the game at a high level. And the competitive ceiling's an A+. If you're a good player, these are the playbooks you want to be in. And then you've got the two final bosses, in my opinion, starting with Ohio State. It's got an answer to everything. You've got RPOs, you've got motions, you've got great stock plays, you've got great formations. You've got trips tight end flex. That's where we start. I mean, one of the best trip sets in the game. Good stock plays, plays like motion Y post, which has been dominant in Madden for a couple of years, and it finally comes to college football. And it's probably going to be one of my favorites in this game. You can quick snap it, or you could throw one hot route on the B receiver like a drag or a slant. And this play is just good against any type of coverage. It's got good man beaters. It's got good spacing against zone. It's a play that if you master, you can be hard to stop. You've also got trips tight end, which is always going to be good. We've talked about it in this video. You've got a lot of other trip sets. You've got tight doubles, which we talked about earlier in Fresno. This is a solid tight doubles. It's not as good as Fresno's, but if you want to make the hot routes, you can make any tight doubles really hard to go against. You also have tight Y off, which is another really good formation. It's not in a whole bunch of playbooks, so you've got a lot of good tight sets in here, but you still have your bunch that you need. You've got bunch X nasty, and it's one of the best bunch X nasties in the game. It's not the strongest bunch playbook overall, but it has the most important bunch formation along with the good trip stuff and the tight doubles, so it's really just going to be tough to go against. But you also have cluster, which I've talked about being very underrated, really good for beating man in zone. It's basically one of the better bunches, but it's not usually qualified that way because it's a different name. And of course, you also got spread and 5 wide as well. But what also makes this playbook interesting is their single back, which we haven't really touched on, but it's got a lot of different single back options. So if you like to go under center, you're going to be really good here, especially when you look at bunch tight end and bunch. These are two formations under center that were good last year, and they're still good this year. You've got RPO stretches. You've got the good cross drag quick snap play. You've got verticals. You've got inside zone, which we already talked about being very good. And now with the bunch as well to go with this, it's a really good playbook to go from shotgun to under center or from under center to shotgun. And the other final boss is Cal. This kind of feels like a created playbook almost. You've got gun deuce close, you've got tight doubles, which we've already talked about being a good formation in other playbooks. You've got tight Y off, tight open, which is also good. The normal Y off close, which we've also talked about with plays like Y sail, the RPOs, and mesh. You've got Y off trio close weak with plays like flood, motion plays. This is a great formation in the game. You've got a bunch of Y off trips, bunch tight end, which is always one of the best formations in the game with a lot of good stock plays. Bunch strong nasty, one of the best formations last year, and it's really good again this year. You've got other bunch, you've got cluster, which we've talked about in other playbooks. You've got trips tight end, which we've also talked about in other playbooks. You've got other trips and trio sets. I mean, this thing has it all. And much like Ohio State, it has a really good single back with those formations like bunch tight end, bunch X nasty, and tight formations. You've got good runs, good RPOs, and some good stock passing plays. I think this is a playbook that almost anybody can use. Rating these last two playbooks for variety, they get an A+. They have everything you need. For difficulty, I'm going to give it a B-. They're not the easiest on this list, but they do both provide some good stock plays that anybody can use. And competitive ceiling, I'm giving it an A+. These are some of the best playbooks that the best players will be using. And while these are really good competitively, I do think these are rare playbooks that also work very well for beginners and dynasty players because they offer variety and they have enough good stock plays in them that you don't have to make a lot of adjustments to if you don't want to take that route. Now, if you want to see some of the plays from these playbooks in action, you can check out some of my early gameplay footage right here on the screen.